church of glory rise, with chaos and shenanigans bright, chocolate and sarcasm uprise. Together we light up the night.
Welcome, everyone. So we are looking at the Kathryn Restelli case and and company. This is a crazy case. It was recommended, not recommended, which is now a new word. It was recommended by Reindeer, and I have it from good authority from Jedi Jess that this is all of the shenanigans. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing your Modly Mod work. Great success. Welcome, Nicola Maxwell. Good morning, Jedi Jess. Heidi, welcome. Hey, Joe. Okay, so I have an article pulled up because I know nothing about this case, but I figured we might need to know kind of names before we got into the probable cause. So a woman and her mother are charged with red rum for allegedly plotting a estranged husband's death. Well, that sounds like fun. I mean, what does your family do? Scrabble. Mine, plans felonies. From American Fork, Utah. I'm telling you what, Utah may be the new, Wisconsin for chicks, apparently, because we seem to be having a lot of Utah shenanigans coming out here lately. The estranged wife of a man shot and unalived inside an American Fork home in July, along with her mother, are now co-defendants with the wife's brother in plotting the force multiplier death. Kathryn Restelli, 36, of Telecomuga, someplace in California, and her mother, Tracy Grist, 59, of American Fork, were charged on Monday in the 4th District. Oh, thank you. I touched my mic. Bad touch. I should be back. So they're charged with, if you guys didn't hear that because I was talking into a muted mic, 1 count of murder, a first-degree felony, 2 counts of second-degree felonies for conspiracy to commit murder and obstruction of justice, and then 2 counts of DV in the presence of a child, both third-degree felonies. The 2 women join Kevin Stanley Elias, 33, Restelli's brother, who was charged with the unaliving in July, as co-defendants in planning and carrying out a plot to unalive Restelli's estranged husband, 42-year-old Matthew Restelli. Quote, Kathryn and Tracy worked together to lure Matthew into driving to Utah, then to entering Tracy's house, where Kevin was waiting with an armed, force multiplier. Almost immediately after Matt arrived, Kevin shot and unalived Matt, who was unarmed. Kathryn, Tracy, and Kevin then planted a knife in Matt's hand in an attempt to make it look like the shooting was in self-defense. Well, I mean, on July 12th, Matthew Restelli was shot shortly after arriving at Grist's American Fork home. He had just driven to Utah from California because he thought his estranged wife wanted to go back home. Tracy told officers that Matt and Kathryn were going through a separation and that Matt would came to the house with a knife and that her son, Kevin, had, taken him out. The autopsy revealed that Matthew Restelli was shot 7 times with a nice grouping. I mean, seriously, 7 times? But investigators quickly realized that the evidence didn't match up with the with the brother's story. The knife that was found in Matthew Restelli's right hand, but prosecutors noted that Restelli was left-handed. Furthermore, he was shot in his right wrist. In other words, Matt was holding the knife in his offhand in the wrong position, with a wound that would have made it, impossible for him to even grip the knife. Taken all together, the physical evidence indicates that the knife was planted in Matt's hand after the unaliving. Prosecutor said, putting emphasis on the word after in the charge. Detectives also went through Kathryn Restelli and Grist's cell phones. They thought the messages in the estranged wife's phone talking about how she was in a tough spot and didn't think things looked good for her, according to a divorce lawyer, the charges state. After his wife had been in Utah for several weeks, Matthew wanted to get her a rental car and return to California, a police booking affidavit states. But after she convinced him she couldn't rent a car, he drove to Utah instead. Because of Apple AirTag tracking devices in his vehicle, Kathryn Restelli and her family monitored her estranged husband's progress. What in the discount spy versus spy is this? So we have, according to the affidavit, Kathryn told a friend after her estranged husband arrived. Elias went into the garage and got a firearm from the safe, and when he returned to the front door living room area, he shot Matthew. But police say the story does not line up with the timeline of the events. If Matthew barged into the residence holding a knife, while the shooter ran to the garage to collect a firearm from a safe, then Matthew would have been able to get further into the residence rather than where he was found deceased, the affidavit states. 4 days after Matthew Restelli was unalived, Kathryn Restelli was allegedly talking to a friend while getting ready to go on a date. Well, I'm glad this hasn't affected you badly, ma'am. She's like, what, why did we have to reschedule our date? And she's like, look, my ex just died. But I'm gonna need something to keep my spirits up. So I'll meet you tomorrow at the Piggly Wiggly. What is going on here? How do you casually talk to your friend about going on a date right after your husband, who you're technically still together with, was unalived? Make it make sense. Kathryn confided in a friend that she never had any intention of returning back to California or getting back together with Matt, the charges state. Restelli and her mother were arrested last week after American Fork police had done an intensive, time-consuming, and meticulous investigation. So there you go. That's kind of a preface to this particular case, because it is all of the crazy. I have been told the probable cause affidavit is just all full of shenanigans. So this is the probable cause affidavit. So let's figure out what is going on in this case, and let's hope that it will be televised, because I want to see a family of dingleberries basically get their just desserts. If the state proves it, they are considered innocent right now. But let's read the probable cause affidavit and see what we feel like after we've read it. So this is in the county of Utah, the state of Utah. Utah has a county called Utah? I live in Utah, Utah. Okay, you know what? States have weird names. It just is what it is. So this is the probable cause affidavit for Kathryn Restelli, and it has charges of DV, presence of a child, criminal homicide with a DV enhancement. 2 of those, red rum, and then obstruction of justice, capital first-degree felony with the, DV enhancement as well. I believe there is probable cause to charge the defendant with these charges because, number 1, on 7/12/2024, the American Fork Police Department received a call for service regarding a report of gunshots fired at the residence located in American Fork. American Fork patrol officers quickly arrived at the residence and made contact with the persons inside the residence, including Kathryn Restelli, Kathryn's mother, and Kathryn's brother, who is an adult. Kathryn and Matthew's 2 children were also in the residence at the time of the shots fired call. Patrol officers then observed a male inside the residence who appeared to have been shot multiple times. Patrol officers attempted to perform first aid on the male, but medical arrived on scene and determined that the male was deceased. The deceased male was identified by persons inside the residence as Matthew Clark Restelli, who was approximately 42 years old. The residence in American Fork where this incident occurred is a gated community. 2. The individual who called 911 to report sounds of gunshot was later interviewed. The individual stated they heard gunshots, then waited approximately 2 minutes prior to calling 911. During this 2-minute time delay, the individual was processing what they heard to determine if they in fact heard, force multiplier shots. The individual confirmed to themselves that they had indeed heard gunfire shots and attempted to call the residence from where the shots were heard. The residents did not answer their phone, so the individual immediately called 911. For this interview, detectives realized that gunshots were heard at approximately 22:07 hours. So that is minus 12. That is 10:07. Detectives listened to the recorded 911 call and discovered that it was received by dispatch at 22:09. So 10. Thank you, Zach. You wouldn't think you'd be dyslexic speaking, but I astound myself with my ability to not only elude and evade a spell check while being a spell checking, outlaw or a spelling outlaw, but yes, you are only if they do Charlie Daniels cover band, activities only. I think a Charlie Daniels cover band would be great. So, goodness. So basically, the gunshots were at 10:07 and the phone call was not received until 10:09. Now, number 3, a criminal homicide investigation was initiated by American Fork Police Department due to the appearance that Matthew was shot multiple times by a firearm. During this investigation, it was determined that Matthew Restelli is a California resident and he was married to Kathryn Restelli, who was in residence at the time the shots were fired. Because Kathryn was inside the residence when American Fork police officers arrived on scene, she was brought to the police department along with her mother and brother shortly after police responded. 4. While at the American Fork Police Department, investigators spoke to Kathryn's brother and his attorney, who was present as the brother was questioned. It was relayed to detectives through the brother's attorney that the brother shot Matthew in a manner which the brother believed was self-defense. The brother's attorney told detectives that Matthew had a knife. The brother and his attorney declined to answer questions from the detectives about how the knife was produced or if Matthew threatened the brother or anyone else in the home with the knife. Now, attorneys relayed to police investigators that the brother told him that Matthew had shown up at the residence uninvited and unannounced with said knife. The brother was arrested and booked into jail under UCA 76-5-203, Red Room. 5. It was reported to detectives by Kathryn and Matthew that Matthew and Kathryn live in California, but had been having marriage problems, so Kathryn came out to Utah to stay with her mother, who previously mentioned this is mentioned in this affidavit. The residence that Matthew was unalived in is Kathryn's mother's residence. Kathryn told detectives that after Kathryn came out to stay with her mother, Matthew decided to drive from California to Utah to speak to Kathryn and possibly drive her back to California. Kathryn told detectives she knew Matthew was on his way to Utah to meet her at her mother's residence in American Fork. Kathryn reported that while Matthew was traveling from California to Utah, he contacted her multiple times by phone. Kathryn told police investigators that her 2 children and herself were upstairs in the residence when Matthew was shot. 6. Kathryn, the shooter, and the mother's phones were all seized due to this incident being investigated for red rum. A search warrant was granted to search the three phones. A search of Kathryn's phone showed that Kathryn received a text message from her sister on 6/20/2024, which read, quote, "I'll be watching the AirTag and let you know as soon as it updates," end quote. A screenshot of Apple Maps with a blue dot was also sent to Kathryn's phone from the sister's phone, which showed a location in Aguagua, California, which is near the Restelli residence in California. From these texts, it is reasonable to believe that there was a tracking device in California on 6/20/2024, which was being monitored. So this is incredibly scary. I know that Apple Tags has dealt with sort of backlash and worry about these Apple AirTags being used by the more stalkery community to keep tabs on someone, and they're small and you can put them on a car, which seems to be what was done in this case. So there has been a lot of worry that these new tracking devices that you can put on your phone or your keys could be used for the more stalkery amongst us to do bad things, and it looks like that exact worry has been fulfilled in this. But let's go on further because maybe I'm just assuming things. 7, in another message found on Kathryn's phone that was sent from her sister's phone number to Kathryn's phone number on 6/21/2024, this text message displayed another screenshot of an Apple map with a blue dot and the location of another place in California. The other place in California I can't pronounce is also near Matthew's residence in California. Kathryn responded to this text message with the following text, quote, "Yeah, I was looking at that on mom phone. It may need another ping," end quote. The text indicates that Kathryn was monitoring a tracking device in California on 6/21/2024 from her mother's phone. 8. Through training and experience, I know that an AirTag is an Apple product that is used to monitor its location. The Apple product description on apple.com describes the AirTag as a device that, quote, "Your AirTag sends out a secure Bluetooth signal that can be detected by nearby devices in the Find My network. These devices send the location of your AirTag to iCloud. Then you can go to the Find My app and see it on the map. The whole process is anonymous, encrypted to protect your privacy, and it's efficient, so there's no need to worry about battery life or data usage." The Apple.com website describes an AirTag device as weighing 0.39 ounces with a diameter of 1.26 inches and a height of 31 inches. Apple.com website lists the AirTag device as being compatible with iPhone devices, iPod Touch devices, and iPads. Well, I mean, great success. That just feels like a Thursday anymore. I know things are ramping up, and if you're watching this to get out of your, mind about certain giant, huge, enormous things that are going on, hopefully, I'm giving you something to take your mind off of this. And this looks like it was a family of stalkers. What did Matthew do that was so bad? I mean, that's the part that I don't get. You can hold an entire can of hate fire for someone. I mean, in storage, but that doesn't mean you're gonna red rum it. I mean, that doesn't mean you have the right to take someone from their family. If you don't love him anymore, if you're actively dating other dudes, then why not get a divorce? I understand it's tragic when a marriage falls apart, but it's even more tragic when kids lose both of their parents because their dad is not alive and their mother can't crime. Well, and also unalives their dad, but basically is the dumbest criminal ever. Because, yeah, why didn't you factory reset all your phones before you decided to stage this break-in? Uh, Dan Baker is the guy I was on for the Lake and Riley case. So he was the guy in the other window that was talking, that has the, accent. You are welcome, Terry. I needed something to cleanse my palate, and I'm glad that Reindeer suggested this and Jedi Jess was able to pull these because it was either this or I was going to go ham on the Susan Smith parole hearing. I was listening to it today as I was taking my boys to school, and I found myself speeding with rage. So I decided to wait because I don't need a daggone ticket from Susan Smith. I mean, it wouldn't be her fault. I'm the one speeding, but I'm still going to blame Susan Smith. Just how it is. So 9. Matthew's truck with a California license plate was found in front of the residence when he was found, deceased. A record search of this California license plate showed that Matthew Restelli was the registered owner of the truck. A search warrant was granted to search his truck. On 7/18/2024, detectives searched Matthew's truck, and an AirTag device was found in Matthew's truck. This AirTag was found in a cloth storage drawer that was resting on the passenger side front floorboard of Matthew's truck. The AirTag was found in the bottom of the drawer, which was filled with random debris, including paper, receipts, magazines, snacks, and drinks. Based on the location of the AirTag, detectives observed it would have been difficult to find it if you didn't know what you were looking for. Welcome, Baker and Christine. 10. A search of Kathryn's iPad and her mother's phone showed that Kathryn, her mother, and the shooter all shared access to the AirTag device to be able to monitor it. The AirTag was labeled truck with a poop emoji. Classy. Now, to be fair, I would probably put a poop emoji on a person I didn't like if I were having to stalkulate or, be a stalkular person. But, yeah, maybe don't label. Okay, Chandler Halderson and Kat Melender have entered the chat. Do not Google, do not AirTag, and maybe don't poop emoji your ex-husband if you're going to red rum him. Welcome, Celestial Force. I love the lurkers. If you are lurking, thank you so much for your support. Your silent support is always appreciated. And this is just a gentle, encouragement. If you want a small chat to kind of get your feet wet in and learn all the chatty stuff and get kind of into a group that's smaller and welcoming, join our chat. We're all degenerates and we have terrible senses of humor, but you might feel better about yourself if you hang out with us. Like, hey, I don't think those mean thoughts. At least I'm better than them. So, number 11, on July 12th, 2024, Kathryn's sister sent a text message to the shooter which read, quote, Orem, keep an eye on Find My. It's reasonable to believe that the sister was telling the unaliver Matthew's location based on the AirTag and to check his phone for an updated location of Matthew. The text message was sent to the shooter's phone at approximately 22.1 hours Mountain Standard Time on the 7th, July 12th, 2024. American Fork Police received the shots fired call on 7/12/2024 at approximately 22.9 hours. So she was like, heads up, he's on your way, y'all. Why isn't the sister in jail, considering she's part of this conspiracy? So less than 10 minutes before he was in the house, she's like, heads up. Again, why do you not factory reset your phone if you're going to crime about it? Now, this is the same sister that messaged another sister in the family on 7/12/2024, stating, quote, Kate talked him into coming out, end quote, and the sister responded, talked him into, question mark, to which the other sister responded, apparently. 12. A video collected from a neighboring residence to the residence where Matthew's body was found. The neighboring residence has a camera which is activated by motion. On 7/12/2024 at approximately 22.6 or so 10:06 The video recording is activated by Matthew's truck pulling up to Kathryn's mother's residence in American Fork. It is clear to see on the video that the truck parks in front of Kathryn's mother's residence and comes to a complete stop. The taillights are on the truck, then they turn off, indicating the truck's lights were turned off by the driver. 13. On 7/12/2024, at approximately 10:25, medical arrived on scene and began to conduct life-saving measures on Matthew. Prior to the medical service arriving on scene, patrol officers took a picture of Matthew. It is clear to see in the photograph that Matthew is lying on his stomach. Matthew's left arm is on the floor with his left hand near the top of his head, with his left thumb knuckle touching his hairline on his forehead. Matthew's right arm was extended out as if his arm was fully extended away from his body in a 45-degree angle. So 90-degree angle, 45-degree angle. This has been Geometry by Mo. Now, in Matthew's right hand, a knife is clearly seen. The knife in Matthew's right hand was gripped by the blade facing toward his hand. You couldn't even... You put it blade first? Are you absolutely... You are terrible at this. Maybe you should get in that divorce, because, ma'am, I don't know how you look in orange, but I see orange is the new black in your future. So the knife in Matthew's right hand was gripped by the blade facing toward his hand, and the grip of the knife was between the thumb and index finger knuckles. The knife was gripped with Matthew's right thumb wrapped around the knife and in line with his 4 other finger knuckles. Matthew's index, middle, ring, and pinky finger were gripped around the handle of the knife with the pads of these fingers touching his palm. Based on these observations, it was clear to see that the knife was being gripped and not loosely held. Also, the blade was facing inwards towards Matthew instead of pointing outwards towards the threat. 14. Based on training and experience as a detective, I observed this picture and observed it did not appear that Matthew was holding the knife when he was shot. It appeared that the knife was possibly placed in Matthew's right hand after he'd been shot dead. So he's not only is he left-handed, but when you tend to be perforated by a bunch of, holeless, paper puncher stuff, you tend to loosen your grip on stuff. So he should not have been tightly holding this pen knife at this point. It should have been somewhat loose and his hands relaxed. Now 15. While speaking to the family of Matthew, detectives discovered that Matthew was dominantly left-handed. Detectives attended the autopsy of Matthew. During the autopsy of Matthew, a bullet wound was found in his right wrist, so he shouldn't be gripping that tightly. It should be loose. He should have been incapacitated and the knife could have probably fallen away from him. So instead he's gripping it tightly in a wrist that's been perforated. Okie dokie. I need that meme that just says, okay, with the little, precious little toddler kiddo. The wound appeared to be in the form of a bullet and entered one side of the wrist and exited the side of the wrist opposite of entry. The exit wound on the wrist was circular in shape, with tissue and bone being forced out. The medical examiner performing the autopsy confirmed that this was a bullet wound. Now, detectives found Matthew was wearing a long-sleeve shirt when he died, and this wound was not observed by law enforcement until the autopsy. Detectives found it reasonable that if someone were to place a knife in Matthew's right hand after he'd been shot, that person would not have seen the bullet wound to Matthew's right wrist due to his long shirt sleeve. 16. Detectives observed the knife and found it to be a brand called Evactac. The brand name was clearly printed on the knife blade. This knife is a folding pocket knife with a blade approximately 4 inches long, and the handle is approximately 5 inches long. After researching the brand, detectives found that the company sold their brand to another company. It was discovered that company is My Tactical Promos. And they put these knives into a tactical mystery box that can be purchased from them. Basically, the company will send you a mystery box gift if you enroll in membership. 17. While searching the mother's cell phone, detectives observed that she sent an email to support at mytacticalpromos.com. Could y'all have been any guilty and the guiltier? No, I'm not going to, clear my Google search history. I'm not going to, delete all my emails. I mean, you had hours to plan as he was driving from California. And I am glad that they were dumb as hell. And they didn't, maybe plan this all out. But you think with three people, you might be able to catch plot holes. Like, if it's me, Cletus, and Earl, and we're trying to figure out how to unalive another Earl because we watched way too much Dixie Chicks, I think between the three of us, we'd be able to maybe figure out the plot holes. Well, like, I'll just put the knife in his right hand. Well, geez, I thought he was left-handed. That's an excellent point. It's like they didn't even sit down and have a family meeting and get a poster board and a mission statement and a dream board for Pinterest to figure all this stuff out. So yeah, she talked to tacticalpromos.com. Detectives read this email and observed that on 4/10/2024, the mother had sent an email requesting that Tactical Promos stop sending tactical box mystery gifts and to please stop my monthly membership to an individual at his address in California because the individual had passed away. Detectives then searched this period of time in the mother's phone and found that the mother had gone to California in March and April of 2024 to help a friend with estate planning, because her friend's husband, the individual mentioned previously, had passed away. Pictures on the mother's phone found with metadata show that this mother was at the residence where the Tactical Promos were sending products on 4/10/2024. Metadata in these pictures showed that the pictures were taken from the mother's phone. Several pictures that were taken from 4/10/2024 also included the mother's face, so it is known that the mother was in California at the address where the My Tactical Promos were sending products. Detectives found it reasonable that the mother would have obtained the knife from the California residence to bring back to American Fork. Well, have a wonderful rest of your week. If I don't see you, have a great job. Yeah, neat scholar. You think that his wife of however long would know he's left-handed. You'd think that would be that's like a little nugget if you're going to say he had a knife that you might want to while you're on the phone with him as he's driving out. Hey, babe, I know this is a random question, but are you left-handed or right-handed? Just kind of there. Number 18. On 7/15/2024, a report was made to an American Fork Police Department by a friend of Kathryn's. This friend reported that Kathryn and herself had been in a friendship for 3 years, and during the last year of their friendship, they spoke daily through text apps and a phone chat. The friend reported that on 5/13/2024, she received a text message from Kathryn, which read something to the effect of, quote, "I'm trying to wait. I might just murder Matt today, though," end quote. Okay, Chandler Halderson, good job. Detectives searched Kathryn's phone and found that on 5/13/2024, Kathryn did send a message to her friend, and the text message sent from Kathryn's phone read, quote, "I'm trying to wait, ... I might just murder Matt today, though," end quote. Good idea. Just write down all your crimes. 19, the friend told the detectives that on 7/12/2024, so this is the murder day, the friend joined an online social media chat and video room where she observed at approximately 9:17 Central Standard Time that Kathryn posted, quote, "I have to do big girl things this morning, ... wish me luck," end quote. The friend then reported that Kathryn also told the social media group that she couldn't tell them what she was going to do when they asked about it. God, I hate vague posting. Dear God, just tell me what's going on so I can give you either a support or constructive advice or just sit with you, but don't make me have to follow you out like feeling awful today. Just don't vague book. If you need to talk to someone, ask directly. Good God, I hate vague booking. Now, when she had to do big girl things, and wish me luck, this was the morning of the unaliving of Matthew. 20. Kathryn's friends told detectives that on 7/13/2024, Kathryn called the friend and told her that Matthew was deceased. Kathryn told the friend that Matthew was, quote, pepperballed 8 times by her brother. Interesting. The friend then expressed her condolences to Kathryn, and she was sorry that Matthew had passed away. The friend then reported that Kathryn told her, quote, it's okay, I'm happy. Okay, let me give you a Kathryn. Kathryn, if I can speak to you as someone who maybe was a little bit on the outs with her husband when he passed away, do you know the one thing you don't tell people, even if it might be, kind of the truth you feel deep in your soul at that moment? You don't tell them, it's okay, I'm happy now. Now, you can feel those feelings, but as I have learned lately, there are inside and outside feelings and thoughts. So perhaps don't. Perhaps don't, tell people, I mean, it happens to everyone. Perhaps don't go down that route. The friend told police that Kathryn and herself were both in a social group video call on 7/13/2024 when Kathryn told her online friends that her husband had died. After telling the group of people her husband had died, Kathryn then showed the online group on video the area of the residence where Matthew had died, including the blood left on the carpet after Matthew's body was removed from the residence. What in the actual Hades? Like, this is beyond boastful behavior. I could not imagine in my wildest dreams having someone red rummed in my house, then being in a place where I would be emotionally able to talk to it or talk about it on Facebook the very damn next day, then like weird murder paparazzi go around my house and photograph where the dude done died. I mean, ma'am, at this point, you should have just turned yourself in at this point. You are acting in what we like to call super sus, you know. You are acting in what we clinically like to call the super sus way. Like, you might as well just say I'm all the guilty. After telling the, yeah, so there you go. Why not just show the place where your husband died? 21, the friend told detectives that she spoke to Kathryn again on 7/13/2024 on a Facetime call. During that Facetime call, the friend reported that Kathryn was getting ready to go on a date. Ma'am, I hope you enjoy orange. I hope it is your color. I hope you're a brunette and you're a fall and you can work that orange to your greatest contentment, because I don't see you getting out of El Prisión for many, many years. Investigators later confirmed this and spoke to the individual Kathryn went on a date with. During the FaceTime call, Kathryn told the friend she wanted to show the friend something, then displayed the image of the blood where Matthew's body was found and requested that the friend take a screenshot of it. What, you need your own murderabilia? Like, why do you need a screenshot of the blood? You have children who have just lost their father. Stay home with them. And even if you didn't like the sumbitch, stay home with them because they've lost their father and they loved him. But no, or go on a date. I mean, you do you, Missy Miss, because apparently you're going to be doing, well, 50 to life, allegedly, if you're convicted. I don't know if it's 50 to life, but it's probably going to be a long time. Now, during the FaceTime call, the friend reported that she spoke to Kathryn and her mother. During the call, Kathryn told her mother that the friend was interested in true crime, to which her mother told the friend, quote, if I had known, I would have taken a picture of the body. What in the jumpin' Jehoshaphat giblets is this? I mean, let's play this scenario out. So you have a friend whose husband just passed, and she seems a little like all the super sus about it. So you try to get her on Facebook, and then when you're on Facebook, she sends you a picture of the bloody spot. Like you're into true crime. Would you like to see a real life crime scene? Then the mom, to top it up, mom comes in, Spinal Tap 11 on the really acting sus. And she's like, well, if I had known, I would have taken a picture of the body and there were some cute police officers here. I could have set you up. Are you still looking to get married? I mean, what in the Hades is going on here? A detective searched Kathryn's iPad and confirmed that on 7/13/2024 she had made several FaceTime calls to this friend. Based on the exact quotes from the friend compared to the text messages on Kathryn's phone and the FaceTime logs, detectives determined that this friend is a reliable witness. Zach, that is my favorite way to explain how ADHD my youngest son is, but I say Spinal Tap 13 because that's about his level. I think it physically hurts him to have to sit still. Now, let's get to 22. A search of Kathryn's iPad showed that she had recorded several phone calls between Matthew and herself. Detectives listened to these phone calls and observed several observations pertaining to this case. In these recordings, Matthew and Karen speak about Matthew driving from California to Utah to pick up Kathryn, and Kathryn agrees to this plan. 23. On 7/12/2024, several recordings on Kathryn's iPad between Matthew and herself are recorded. During these recordings, Matthew is clearly driving in a vehicle due to the background noise sounding like he is. Matthew speaks to Kathryn about the route he's taking from California to Utah and gives Kathryn an estimated time of his arrival. In one recording, Matthew tells Kathryn that he wants to leave the truck running since he'll only be there for about 15 minutes as they get loaded in the truck. Kathryn appears to be taken aback from this and stops talking, then begins to speak as if she's confused about Matthew not turning off the truck when he gets to the residence. Kathryn then returns to a normal speaking voice and says, "That's fine." Kathryn asks, "Are you going to come inside?" And Matthew doesn't respond to this question, so Kathryn asks again, "Are you going to come inside and help me load up?" Matthew responds, "Yes," and Kathryn says, "Okay, the front door is always unlocked, okay?" So she honey trapped him in there. She's like, "Babe, these boxes I have when I fled the marital home, full Sarah Boone style, just fled into the arms of another, is so heavy, and I'm a tiny little girl. I'm a delicate flower. Could you help me with these boxes?" Okie dokie. 23. Oh, no. So it's 24. On 7/12/2024, another recording between Matthew and Karen is recorded on Karen's iPad, or Kathryn's iPad. In this recording, Matthew asks Kathryn if he can leave his truck running when he gets to his mother's house because Matthew is worried the truck won't start if he turns it off. Kathryn says it's okay to leave the truck running and then immediately asks, quote, "You're coming in, right?" 25. On 7/11/2024, Kathryn texts her mother, quote, Matt doesn't want to drive out, end quote. Quote, "He's depositing money for me to rent a car," end quote. Kathryn's mother's response, "Nope. Well, we'll just stay with you spraining your ankle and just keep putting him off." "It's fine." Kathryn then responds to her mother, "I'll tell him." Kathryn's mother responded, "You're going to sprain your ankle soon." Kathryn then responded, "Yes, he wants me to leave tomorrow. I have to make arrangements for the car today." Kathryn's mother responded, "Can't drive with that ankle. I know we can wrap it and make it look swollen under the wrap." From these messages, it is clear to see that Kathryn and her mother were thinking of ways for Kathryn to not take a rental car from American Fork back to California. On 7/12/2024, Kathryn records another recording on her iPad. What is it with these chicks recording things that make them look all the guilty? Yes, Sarah Boone, I'm looking at you. She's like, I'm going to document my crime, or dear Lord. On 7/12/2024, Kathryn records a recording on her iPad that goes on for several hours. This recording sounded like it was activated by accident because it was only background noise that is heard. Near the end of the recording, a knock on the door is heard, and Kathryn states, "I need you to watch my kids because I have to go to the car rental place to make my story plausible." Then a voice later identified as the shooter is heard saying, "Okay." 26. You did warn me. I just didn't think anyone would be this absolutely stupid. And welcome, Eon Dobb. Thanks for joining us. 26. On 7/12/2024, so the day of the crime, Kathryn's mother and Kathryn texted about the car rental when Kathryn's mother texted her, "It might help your story if you say you went there and they said no. Also, you might call them and it's better for them to say, yeah, you were here and we couldn't rent you a car." On 7/12/2024, Kathryn texted her mother saying he's going to drive out. Kathryn's mother then texts Kathryn, "I'll call you." A 5-minute phone call from Kathryn's mother to Kathryn is then made. Later that day, on 7/12/2024, Kathryn's mother then texts, quote, "I'm meeting the shooter named redacted for probable cause or personal something reasons for sushi." 27. On 7/11/2024, Kathryn made a phone call to a divorce lawyer. On 7/11/2024, a friend of Kathryn's texted Kathryn, quote, "What happened with the lawyer?" End quote. Kathryn responded to the friend, "It doesn't look good." The friend responded to Kathryn, "Can you talk?" Kathryn responded to the friend, "I'm still processing that it sucks." Kathryn also responded, "I just have to establish residency. Matthew, expects me to drive home tomorrow. He reserved a car." The friend responded to Kathryn, "Do you think he will drive there if you don't come home?" Kathryn responded, "The lawyer said I'm in a tough spot." 28. On 7/11/2024, another friend texted Kathryn, "How did the attorney meeting go?" Kathryn responded, "Honestly, I'm effed." The friend responded, "How so?" Kathryn responded, "Just dumb California law. I just feel hopeless." The friend responded, "So you have to stay in California? What are you going to do?" And Kathryn responded, "I don't know. I'm still trying to process it all." The friend responded, "So you can't leave the state. Matthew probably knows and made it so you're screwed." 29. After listening to the recordings between Matthew and Kathryn that were found on Kathryn's iPad, detectives observed the following. At no time did Kathryn tell Matthew not to come to Utah to pick her up. Kathryn and Matthew said "I love you" to each other. Matthew told Kathryn he was excited to see her again, and Kathryn responded with she was as well. Matthew sounded happy and did not say anything to Kathryn that indicated he was mad at her or was going to force her to come with him. Kathryn even assisted Matthew in planning his route from California to Utah, speaking about the best roads to travel. After reviewing text messages between the two, detectives observed that Kathryn texted Matthew on 7/12/2024 the gate code for her mother's gated community, her mother's address, and even a picture of her mother's residence. So Matthew would know exactly where to go. Matthew texted Kathryn on 7/12/2024 and expressed he was concerned about his truck leaking oil and asked Kathryn to put down some cardboard so his truck's oil wouldn't leak on the asphalt. On 7/12/2024, Kathryn texted Matthew a picture of cardboard on the ground in the roadway directly in front of her mother's residence. On 7/12/2024, detectives observed cardboard beneath Matthew's truck. 30. On 7/12/2024, the second 911 call was received by dispatch. This call was placed by Kathryn's mother. This call was received by dispatch at 10:15. Detectives believe the time delay from the first 911 call received at 10:09 to that time Tracy called 911 is unreasonable. So you have neighbors calling, and the people that are in the house took, some minutes they had to process and manifest, their alibi. So it took them a little bit. Detectives believe during this delay, the knife was placed in Matthew's hand. 31. Below is a summary of the evidence presented above. Matthew and Kathryn were married in California. Matthew and Kathryn were having marriage problems, so Kathryn decides to leave California and travels to Utah to stay with her mother. While in Utah, Kathryn contacts a divorce lawyer. After speaking with the divorce lawyer, Kathryn feels that her situation is helpless and she doesn't know what to do. Matthew wants Kathryn to come back to California and offers to pay for a rental car so she can drive back. Kathryn and her mother come up with a plan to keep Kathryn from driving from Utah to California. Now, because of the made-up plan, this causes Matthew to drive from California to Utah to pick up Kathryn. While Matthew is driving from California to Utah, Kathryn tells Matthew she loves him and never once tells him she doesn't want to leave Utah. Kathryn provides Matthew with a gate code to her mother's gated community. Kathryn provides Matthew a picture of her mother's residence and puts down cardboard on the ground at Matthew's request so oil doesn't drip from his truck to the ground. While Matthew is driving from California to Utah, Kathryn confirms with him multiple times that he's going to enter her mother's residence when he arrives. Matthew is shot and unalived in Kathryn's mother's residence while Kathryn is inside the residence. Matthew arrives at 10:06. Gunfire is heard at approximately 10:07 and 911 is called at 10:09. The knife found in Matthew's hand, however, a knife is found in Matthew's hand. However, detectives discovered that Matthew never purchased this kind of knife, but Kathryn's mother has access to one in April. The day after Matthew is killed, Kathryn brags to her friend about the shooting and shows some pictures of the bloodstains on the carpet. The day after Matthew is unalived, Karen tells her friend she's happy he's not here. The day after Matthew is unalived, Kathryn went on a date. 32. Based on the evidence found during this investigation, detectives found probable cause to arrest Kathryn for murder, conspiracy for murder, obstruction, domestic violence in the presence of a child, ×2. So, yeah, she might just, I don't know, be all the damn guilty. And then this is, looks like this is the charging document. So we can go through this. So she is, the state of Utah through Utah's county attorney's office charges defendants. So these are all the defendants: Kevin Stanley Ellis, Kathryn Restelli, and Tracy Marie Grist. So Kevin is Kathryn's brother, and then Tracy is Kathryn's mother. So the state of Utah through the county of Utah brings these charges. Count 1, murder, DV. So all of these charges have a DV enhancement because this has been considered, or this case has been considered domestic violence. Yeah, Jedi I just saw that one too, so I will be going through these. So because they were married and she basically plotted all of this out, there are DV enhancements on all of this. Defendants Kevin Stanley Ellis, Kathryn Restelli, and Tracy Marie Grist did A, intentionally or knowingly cause the death of another individual. B, intended to cause serious bodily injury to another individual. The actor commits an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes the death of another individual. C, acting under circumstances evidencing a depraved indifference to human life. The actor knowingly engages in conduct that creates a grave risk of death to another individual, thereby causes the death of another individual. Or D, and D has subsections. I, the actor is engaged in the commission or attempted commission or immediate flight from the commission or attempted commission of any predicate offense or is a party to the predicate offense. I, the individual or other than the party described in section 76-2-202 is unalived in the course of commission, attempted commission, or immediate flight from the commission or attempted commission of any predicate offense, and the actor acted with the intent required as the element of the predicate offense. Furthermore, the defendants and victims were or are cohabitants as defined by Utah Code. Count 2 for all three. Conspiracy to commit red rum with a DV enhancement, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-4-201, in that on or about 7/12/2024 in Utah County, the defendants, Kevin Stanley Ellis, Kathryn Restelli, and Tracy Marie Grist, did intending that conduct constituting the crime of murder to be performed in violation of Utah Code. Did agree with one or more persons to engage in or cause the performance of this conduct. Furthermore, the defendants and victim were cohabitants. Now, count 3, obstruction of justice in criminal investigations or proceedings exemptions. A second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-8-306, in that on or about 7/12/2024 in Utah County, the defendants Kevin Stanley Ellis and Kathryn Restelli and Tracy Marie Grist did with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constituted a criminal offense, either A, provided any person with a weapon, B, prevent by force, intimidation, or deception any person from performing any act that might aid in the discovery, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person, C, alter, destroy, or conceal, or remove any item or other thing, D, make present or use an item or thing known by the actor to be false, E, harbor or conceal a person, F, provide a person with transport, disguise, or other means of avoiding discovery of apprehension. G, warn any person of impending discovery or apprehension. H, warn any person of an order authorizing the interception of wire communications or a pending application for an order authorizing the interception of wire communications. Conceal information that was not privileged that concerned the offense after a judge or magistrate has ordered that the actor provide the information, or provide false information regarding a suspect, a witness, the conduct constituting an offense, or any other material aspect of the investigation. Furthermore, the conduct which constituted a criminal offense would be a capital felony or first degree. Count 4, commission of DV in the presence of a child, a third-degree felony. So they're all just charged with these things. So commit or attempt to commit a criminal homicide offense against a cohabitant in the presence of a child, or B, intentionally cause serious bodily injury to a cohabitant or use a dangerous weapon or other means or force likely to produce death or serious bodily injury against a cohabitant in the presence of a child. So the really hard part to deal with, because we get to look at all these Larry, Curly, and Moe of homicide, is that this mom made the choice to take that dad away from those kids, knowing there was a possibility that it would come down to this and she would be charged with red rum. And of all the selfish, conniving, and jerky things to do just because you can live in Utah for a little bit, I can't with this woman. Count 6, purchase, transfer, possession, or use of a force multiplier by a Category 2 restricted person. A third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code that in or about 7/12/2024 in Utah County, the defendant Kevin Stanley Ellis did, being then a Category 2 restricted person, intentionally or knowingly purchase, transfer, possess, use, or have under the person's custody or control a firearm. 7, possession or use of controlled substance. Well, isn't that special? a Class A misdemeanor in violation of Utah Code in that on or about 7/12/2024 in Utah County, the defendant, Kevin Stanley Ellis, did knowingly and intentionally possess or use a controlled substance analog or controlled substance which was classified in a Schedule 1 or Schedule 2, to wit, coca. Probable cause statement. Joseph Norton of American Fork Police Department, having probable cause to believe that the defendant committed the above-listed offenses, submitted the following evidence in support of filing this information. Summary of probable cause. Kevin Ellis, Tracy Grist, and Kathryn Restelli conspired to commit the murder of Kathryn's husband, Matt Restelli. Tracy is Kathryn and Kevin's mother, making her Matt's mother-in-law, and Kevin is Matt's brother-in-law. Kathryn and Tracy worked together to lure Matt into driving to Utah, then to enter Tracy's home, where Kevin was waiting armed with a force multiplier. Almost immediately after Matt arrived, Kevin shot and unalived Matt, who was unarmed. Kathryn, Tracy, and Kevin then placed a knife in Matt's hand in an attempt to make it look like the shooting was in self-defense. The real probable cause. The shooting and initial police contact. On or about July 12th, 2024, at 10:06 p.m., Matt arrived at Tracy's duplex home in the gated community in American Fork, Utah. A neighbor's security system caught Matt's arrival on video. At 10:07 p.m., KL, who lives in the duplex connected to Tracy's duplex, heard 6 to 8 shots coming from Tracy's side of the duplex. KL called 911 at 10:09 p.m. Tracy did not call 911 until 10:45 p.m., approximately 8 or 9 minutes after the shooting, and approximately 6 minutes after the neighbor called 911. American Fork police officers arrived at the home at 10:17 p.m. Kevin answered the front door. The interior lights of the house were all off except for the cabinet light in the kitchen. A pair of men's sandals were placed neatly just inside the entrance of the resident right before the carpet started. The initial responding officer found Matt's body mere feet from the door, laying face down in the middle of the hallway with no shoes on. Matt had no pulse. He had already passed away. It also appeared that Matt was gripping a knife in his right hand. The officer called out and asked if anyone else was in the home, and a woman identified herself as Kathryn, Matthew's wife. Kathryn stated she had 2 small children, 3 and 5 years old. You witch. You witch. Those children are now going to grow up without their mom, without their uncle, without their grandma, which y'all seem to be, ridiculous, so. But their dad that loved them enough to beg their mom to work on their marriage and come back to the marital home. Now, they might not have made it work out had they gone back together, but the dad was really trying. The officer, Kathryn told the officer that she had been upstairs and was waiting for Matt to come talk to her. Police took Kevin and Tracy outside. Tracy yelled to Kevin, "Don't say anything." Tracy told officers that Matt and Kathryn were going through a separation, and Matt had come to the house with a knife, and her son, Kevin, had shot him. Kevin's interview with the police. Post-Miranda, Kevin told the detective he was afraid for his life and shot Matthew in self-defense. Kevin's attorney, who was present during Kevin's interview, added that Matt entered the home unannounced, was armed with a knife, and took Kevin and Tracy by surprise. He also stated that Matt backed Kevin up into a wall and Kevin shot Matt in self-defense at close range. Kevin explained further that he never saw Matt pull out a knife, so he believed that Matt must have come to the home wielding the knife. Kevin also added he had no idea what kind of knife it was. When Kevin was taken into custody and transported to the police station for the interview, he had a black handgun holster on him. I don't even know. I'm not supposed to have a force multiplier. Forensic evidence of shooting and planting of the knife on Matt's body. The front door to Tracy's home opens to a small entryway. Immediately forward and to the right is the home's living room, which leads into the dining room area. Immediately forward to the left is the hallway where Matt's body was found. The hallway leads to the kitchen that connects to the dining area. Officers located 8 bullet casings in the living room area near the front door. They also noted 3 bullet holes in the door or wall close to the front door. The location of the casings and bullet holes indicate that Kevin was in the living room when he shot Matt, who was moving from the front door into the hallway. A medical exam showed that Matt had been shot directly in his chest, once on the right side of his upper torso, 3 times in the back, once in the hip, and once in his right wrist. The knife found in Matt's hand was a single-edged blade and had the handle with a finger grip. Matt's hand was gripping the knife with a finger grip pushing into the palm of his hand, while the spine part of the handle, which is normally held against the palm, was pushing into Matt's fingers. However, there was both an entry and exit wound on Matt's right wrist where he was holding the knife. Additionally, Matt is left-handed. In other words, Matt was holding a knife in his offhand in the wrong position with a wound that would have practically prevented him from even gripping a knife. Taken together, the physical evidence indicates that the knife was planted in Matt's hand after the shooting. A search of Kevin's bedroom. Officers searched Kevin's bedroom. On the nightstand found Kevin's identification, together with a rolled-up $1 bill that field tested positive for having some nose clam powder in there. Additional statements made by Tracy and Kathryn. Please arrest us. We plead the Fifth. Post Miranda, Tracy said she knew Matthew was coming to her home and that he would be arriving at, a little after 10. Tracy said she was sitting in the kitchen counter and the next thing she knew, Matt was in the kitchen and said hi. Tracy said that Matt appeared agitated as he began walking away, asking if Kathryn was upstairs. Tracy said yes, but Kathryn would come down. Tracy stated she heard gunshots while she was still sitting at the kitchen counter. She said she ran to the hall and saw Matt lying face down. She stated she then went upstairs to tell Kathryn not to come down and that Tracy, then called the police. Kathryn told officers that she and Matt lived in California and had been struggling financially, and Matt had been verbally abusive. She said that on June 20th, 2024, she took her and their 2 children and drove to American Fork to live with her mother while Matt stayed in California. On July 12th, 2024, Matt made arrangements for Kathryn to rent the vehicle back to California. Kathryn said that due to having an out-of-state driver's license and only a debit card, she was not able to pick up the rental. No, not yet. Let's see here. She said Matt told her he would drive to Utah and pick her and their 2 kids up and take them home to California. Kathryn said Matt told her he would arrive at her address at about 10:10 p.m. Kathryn told police she was undecided if she was going to return to California with Matthew or she was going to continue to stay in Utah and stay separated. She said she was upstairs in a bedroom waiting for Matt to arrive when about at 10:15, she heard a commotion coming from downstairs, then heard gunshots. She said Tracy came upstairs to inform her that an accident had occurred and to stay in her room and that her mom was going to call the police. Now, electronic evidence, because I'm sure it's all of the damn evidence. And there is a footnote that says, all text messages and search history records mentioned in this probable cause statement are repeated verbatim regardless of any grammar or spelling errors. Why do I have a feeling that the state's attorney would have to put that on all of my text messages? Kathryn's cell phone and iPad, Tracy's cell phone, and Matt's cell phone were collected by the police. The following is a partial description of incriminating evidence on these devices. The knife found in Matt's hand was made by a company called Evitac. While searching Tracy's phone, detectives found an email that was sent by Tracy on April 10th, 2024 to support mytacticalpromos.com. In the email, Tracy asked the company to stop sending a subscription for tactical box mystery gifts to a certain friend of hers. Tracy was at the friend's house in California from April 2nd to the 14th, 2024, helping the friend move into an assisted living center. Detectives found a video connected to mytacticalpromos.com that showed the unboxing of one such tactical box. Inside the box shown on the video is what appeared to be the exact model and color of the knife in Matt's hand. On June 6, 2024, Tracy texted her daughter, RJ, quote, "Matt made it so I want to kill him. When Katie asked about whatever I had said about her being the camper too much, which I never said anything, he straight up lied. I'm going to unalive him," end quote. I don't know I don't understand what the camper. June 16th, 2024, Kathryn began using her phone's web search capability to look for rental cars. On June 16th, 2024, the same day that Kathryn was searching for rental cars, Tracy deleted search history from 10:18 a.m. to 10:31 a.m., which included Utah gun law registration, Utah shot sick break-in. So poor spelling, but I'm guessing Utah shot for break-in, Utah gun laws and regulation explained, and quote, how do private sales of firearms work in Utah? A few hours later, Tracy searched to file for a divorce if wife is a Utah resident and husband is a California resident. Now, I'm not clowning too much on their spelling because honestly, as a grammar and spelling outlaw, I confound and bemuse myself at my ability to misspell words such that even autocorrect is like, heifer, what? What the hell are you trying to say, heifer? Because I don't know what this word even confabulates as. Later that same night, Tracy searched, quote, renew my passport by mail, apply for a U.S. passport, how to get my U.S. passport fast. On the morning of June 20th, 2024, Kathryn drove her and Matt's kid to Utah without telling Matt. Matt was initially upset, believing Kathryn had left him and taken the kids, but Kathryn convinced him that it was just a breather and she would be back in 1 or 2 weeks. At no time between June 20th and July 12th, 2024, did Kathryn tell Matthew that she was considering a divorce or that her being gone was anything more than a temporary breather. Matt believed that Kathryn wanted to come home, and she gave him no indication that she was hesitant about driving with him back to California. Text messages between Kathryn and her sister TF revealed that Kathryn had placed an Apple AirTag in Matthew's truck before she left California in the rental car. Text messages on Kathryn's phone showed that Kathryn, Tracy, Kevin, TF, and the other sister RJ all had access to view and track the Apple AirTag, and by extension, Matt's truck. On June 24th, 2024, Kathryn changed her chats with Kevin on Snapchat to be deleted after 24 hours. On June 26, 2024, Kevin texted Kathryn, the tag is still active. If I have to rush back, I can make that happen. Kevin then asked Kathryn to screenshot Matt's Apple location. On June 27, 2024, Tracy conducted a web search for American Fork Cemetery and Alpine Cemetery. You guys are the worst. On July 7th, 2024, Tracy deleted her chat history with Kevin. On the night of July 9th, 2024, Kathryn texted her sister that Kathryn, had a date the night before. On July 11, Kathryn made a phone call to a divorce lawyer. On the same day, a friend of Kathryn's texted Kathryn, quote, what happened with the lawyer, and Kathryn responded to a friend, quote, it doesn't look good, end quote. The friend responded to Kathryn, can you talk? Kathryn responded to the friend, quote, I'm still processing that it sucks. Kathryn also responded, I just have to establish residency. Matt, expects me to be driving home tomorrow. He reserved a car. The friend responded to Kathryn, do you think he will drive there if you don't come home? And Kathryn responded, the lawyer says I'm in a tough spot. On the same day, another friend texted Kathryn, "How did your attorney meeting go?" And Kathryn responded, "Honestly, I'm forked." The friend responded, "How so?" And Kathryn responded, "Just dumb CA law. I'm feeling hopeless." And the friend responded, "So you have to stay in California, huh? What are you going to do?" And Kathryn responded, "I don't know. I'm still trying to process it all." The friend responded, "So you can't leave the state, huh? Matthew knows and made it so you're screwed." On July 11th, 2024, Tracy searched, "When was Donna Adelson arrested?" Now, for those of you who do not know the lovely Adelsons, the Adelsons had 3 children, and one of them was their daughter, Wendy, who happened to marry, oh my God, Dan Markel, a fellow professor, a fellow lawyer, and an all-around kind of brilliant guy. Now, they were together, they had 2 sons, but suddenly, the marriage kind of fell apart. And Wendy Adelson went through the house, basically took a bunch of assets, took a bunch of accounts, and left divorce papers just on the bed for Dan Markel to find after he came home from a business trip. And Dan wasn't really upset about, the divorce. I mean, he was upset, but it was more, "Where are my children?" So after a long and very not amicable divorce in which the parents were trying to bribe Dan Markel with $1 million so that precious Wendy could move back down to be with her parents during this time of her need, when Dan Markel basically said, "No, I will be in my son's life." Well, one random day that no one really knows what happened, allegedly according to the Adelsons, 2 not so good guys take a force multiplier and shoot Dan Markel in his front yard, even as he's sitting in his car. Now, these 2 happen to have connections with uh, Wendy Adelson's brother's girlfriend. She's kind of sleeping with her, ex and Dan, or not Dan, but Charlie at the same time. And, you know, the Adelsons needed some, well, trigger people, allegedly in Minecraft. So basically, it is a similar story of a woman who is getting a divorce, wants to move with her children, and the father says, "No, I want to be in the children's life." So the family gets together and hatches a little plotty plot. Now, I will say that the Adelsons were not as brain dead as this person, but they did, if it is to be believed by some of the court, they did in fact launder money. And by that, I mean it was wet when they gave it to the, trigger people, wet and stapled. Now, Donna Adelson is a woman charged with hiring a hit person or to kill her son-in-law. On July 11th, 2024, Kathryn texted her mother, "Matt doesn't want to drive out. He's depositing money for me to rent a car." Tracy responded, "Nope. Well, we'll just say you sprained your ankle and just keep putting him off. It's fine." Kathryn then responded to her mother, "Yep, if you deposit money, then I can use it to pay for a lawyer." Tracy responds with, "Yes, sir. It would be a $550 rental, $550 deposit with $300 for gas." Kathryn responds, "I'll tell him." Tracy then responded, "Plus, you're going to sprain your ankle soon." Kathryn responded, "Yes, he wants me to leave tomorrow. I have to make arrangements for the car today." Tracy responded, "Well, you can't drive with that fake, broken ankle. Think of your health." Tracy texts a little later in the conversation, "I know we can wrap it and make it look swollen under the wrap." On July 12th, 2024, in the early morning, Tracy and Kathryn were texted about the car rental when Tracy texted her, "It might help your story if you say you were there and they said no. Also, you might call them and it's better for them to say, yeah, you were here, you couldn't rent the car." Later that day, Kathryn texted Tracy, "He's going to drive out." Tracy then texted Kathryn, "I'll call you." Tracy makes a 5-minute phone call to Kathryn. Thereafter, on July 12th, Tracy texts Kathryn, "I'm meeting Kevin for sushi." Shortly after that, Tracy searched "It's Happening" meme. Were they going to meme post the... Were they going to meme post their kill, like with the Superman or the Spider-Man with everyone pointing at each other? Don't meme your kill. Oh my God, what is wrong with this family? Please say they're streaming this. I need this trial in my soul. On July 12th, 2024, Kathryn messaged some of her friends in the online group chat platform Discord and told them, quote, I have big girl, you keep Discord out of your dirty, filthy, murdering, allegedly hands, ma'am. It's a place for good degeneracy, like sharing really, really bad memes, not planning your, unalivings. And told them, I have big girl things to do today. Wish me luck. When people in the chat asked her what she meant, Kathryn vague booked and was a actual butt about it. Kathryn recorded several phone calls between Matthew and herself as Matthew drove from California to Utah on July 12th, 2024. In one phone call, Matthew spoke to Kathryn about the route he was taking from California to Utah, and Kathryn gave estimated times of arrival. In another call, Matthew told Kathryn that he wanted to leave the truck running as they loaded up the truck since he would only be there for about 15 minutes. Kathryn appeared to be taken back by this, stopped talking, then began to speak as if she was confused about Matt not turning off the truck when he arrived at the residence. Kathryn then returned to a normal speaking voice and said it was fine. Kathryn then asked, Are you coming inside? Matt didn't respond to the question, so Kathryn asked again, Are you going to come inside and help me load up? Matthew then responded, Yeah, and Kathryn then said, Okay, the front door is always unlocked, okay? Later in the conversation, Kathryn told Matt if Matt wasn't too tired, if Matt was too tired, Tracy said he could sleep there. Yeah, the deep sleep, 6 feet under. Good God, this woman is diabolical, but moronically diabolical. So, I don't know. What's a word when you excel at being a dumbass? We need to invent a word that's like dumbass scholastic achievement. Like if you are just the king dumbass for the moment. Let's see here. And Tracy would keep her distance, and Tracy would actually be asleep. Kathryn stated she just wanted Matthew to be comfortable. Kathryn assured Matt several times that it would not take too long to load up the truck and leave. Both Kathryn and Matt said they loved each other. Kathryn then texted Tracy and she told Matt these things, and Tracy responded, "Very good." She was probably petting a white cat too. I'm imagining these people have the combined criminological talents of Dr. Evil. A little after 8 p.m., Matt asked Kathryn to put a cardboard out in front of Tracy's house so he would not leak oil onto the street. In another phone call, also a little after 8 p.m., Kathryn again asked Matt if he was going to come inside, and he confirmed with him that he would come inside to help her load the truck. On July 12th, 2024, a little after 9 p.m., Kathryn texted Matt the gate code to get into Tracy's gated community neighborhood, as well as a picture of Tracy's duplex. Officers on the scene after the shooting found no evidence that Kathryn packed anything to leave or load in the truck. On July 12th, 2024, at 12:49 p.m., RJ texted TF, quote, Katie talked him into coming out on the phone with Katie now. RJ later texted Tracy at 8:11 p.m., RF got here safe and sound. RF is one of Tracy's daughters that lives with Tracy. At 9:32 p.m., RJ texted her brother, TE. Matt should be at mom's home in like 30 minutes. I have RF here. I think she's got Kevin, Katie, and JT there. Unhung hero, you have just made my day. Absolutely. Though I do like stupidus maximus. I think I might start using that. Because then when my kids inevitably pick it up, it's like I'm teaching them Latin, right? Thank you so much, Unhung Hero. But politician also works better. It's a multi-purpose word. We can make up all the words. Let's see here. Now, RJ then texted Tracy at 10 p.m. OREM. RJ then texts Kevin at 10:01 p.m. Kevin OREM. Keep an eye on my find. Now, is Orem a code word or is it some word that I don't know? Because, or like, because it doesn't seem, I'm trying to make an anagram out of it. Or not an anagram, an acronym, sorry. An anagram might be easy to make out of Orem. Well, maybe not. Well, you can change it to more. I love dyslexia. It makes anagrams so easy. It makes reading incredibly difficult, but I can do anagrams. I do have a magical power. On July 14th, 2024, a recorded phone call occurred between Kathryn Tracy and DR, Matthew's mother. Kathryn told DR that Matthew had come to Utah to have a conversation because the conversation had to be face-to-face. Kathryn said that Matthew was upset he was coming out. Kathryn said she did not know where the knife was on Matt, and it was very traumatic to walk past his body. Kathryn stated she did not want to look. Tracy said that Tracy, bought the force multiplier Kevin used on Matthew back during the coup. Tracy also stated that the gun was locked in a safe high up in the garage. Tracy said she had no idea where Kevin was when Matt was shot and that Tracy was in the kitchen. Now, prior to this conversation with DR, Tracy had texted Kathryn and told her not to tell DR anything that happened and to say it was all just a blur. Y'all are doing fine. You're just like Sally Fields. Y'all love me, really love me. I mean, send these three to Hollywood. We have found our new adult pretenders. After Matt's death, Kathryn FaceTimed one of her friends from the Discord group and showed her a picture of the carpet that was blood-stained from Matt's death. The friend overheard Tracy say that if she had known that the friend liked death, Tracy would have taken a picture of her body. Why? When the friend told Kathryn that she was sorry that Matt was dead, Kathryn said, "It's okay, I'm happy." The friend told police that Kathryn would often complain about how much she hated Matt and how horrible Matt was. Kathryn had also confided in the friend that Matt was never physically, laid his hand on her. Lastly, Kathryn would often brag to the friend that she cheated on Matt both in person and online. Ma'am, you are becoming more and more just awful. Are you planning on to star in a Disney Star Wars film by any chance? On July 16th, 2024, 2024, Kathryn was getting ready for a date while speaking to a friend. Kathryn confided in the friend that she never had any intention of returning back to California or getting back together with Matt. Kathryn also told the friend that Matt entered the home with a knife and that Kevin went to the garage and grabbed the force multiplier, then shot him 8 times in front of the stairs. The friend asked what kind of knife Matt had, and Kathryn stated it was a tactical knife. Kathryn's web search history on her iPad showed a few days after Matt's death, Kathryn researched, quote, "How soon is too soon to tell someone you love them?" and 5 ways to get rid of hickeys. What in the cartoon villain Cruella de Vil, Rita, Repulsa, Zordon shit is this? What in the name of all that is holy? Like, look, I know my husband just passed, but when love comes into your life, like 3 days later, you just have to grab it by the horns. Now, I am going to look at the, it looks like there is a list of things that are going on in the case, so I'm going to see if they've got the next, no, it doesn't look like they've got the next court date. Oh, wait, no, it is 11/26/2024, so I will check to see if on 11/26/2024 there's more that comes out. I do think this has, we are getting some snows or some snows, some snow. It's a light dusting. Everyone's losing their mind, but it's just like that little pre-snow. My boys were all upset. They're like, we don't even get out of school. Not on the desk. We have had this talk. I do think that this is going to be a stellar case, and this is definitely going to be streamed. I think that this is absolutely going to be one of the biggest cases. It's all chock full of shenanigans. And thank you guys so much for joining me as I got introduced to this case, introduced you guys to this case. And I will keep looking for updates because this is all the dumb. I mean, this is like if you had the mental capacity of Sarah Boone, but you invited all your friends to play. This is just wild, a wild case. Thank you, Reindeer, for recommending it. Thank you, Jedi Jest, for pulling the documents, and thank all of you guys for being here. I am going to have to end quickly as I'm getting a phone call from Mr. Mo, but thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, you guys.